Hello there, welcome back to another one of my instruction videos. Grapplers, lifters, grabbers, suplexers, there are lots of names for them and I absolutely love them. There is something about being able to fully lift your opponent off the ground during a fight and being able to put them wherever you like that is just so satisfying. Lots of people have asked me for a while now to make a video on how to create your own lifter robot, so I've created this to try and help them out. Please let me know in the comments if this was any help, and do let me know what instruction video you'd like me to do next. In this video, I'll be showing you 4 different mechanisms and the 7.5 robots that I have that use them. Before I continue, we better start naming things. I don't know what the actual words are for this, but I've made up my own words that I use in this video, so these are the parts of the lifter which I'm calling the scoop, the arm, and the teeth. So that's where we'll start. Okay, let's talk about the scoop first. The scoop is the bit that allows you to get under your opponent's robot. Incredibly important. If you don't have this, you don't have the interaction. In most robot fights, it's the lowest robot that wins these sort of interactions. For my circuit cubes one, so this is Cracker, it's won loads of competitions now. I've just used these like lightsaber rods because in circuit cube the ground game isn't as low. But I have, with this one Cruncher, started to adapt it so he's got the brick separators, the classic brick separators. So if you use this connector with some small axles, you can connect a brick separator to the end of it. That allows you to kind of put separators on the front and have that incredibly sharp low ground game. Wojtek uses the Pappy system that Nick Cohen came up with, so it's got that on the front, so that goes under and it allows the head to come on nicely. Another special mention, here's my one for Meltdown, 2 single separators connected up, and that just allows the arm to go under and then go straight up. So that is what I call like the scoop. So the arm is going to be lift arms generally. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the arm is as long as it's long. It could be anything, I suppose. But there is Cracker's one. Wojtek's one uses these bent lift arms, and then it uses these curved, like the curved circle pieces, like the large gear wheels. So that allows that. Basically, you need it to have enough space to get over your opponent's robot and then grip them from the top. Most of my circuit cube grabbers use the same kind of bent lift arm that allows them that nice sort of space to get over them. The last part, and probably kind of one of the most important parts of a grabber, is these bits, what I call the teeth. This is the grippy part that allows it to bite on the top and then hold it. If this doesn't work very well, then the whole robot slides out. So this is what I use for it at the moment. There's lots of different ways for it. So when I first started, like Critter just doesn't have anything, and this is a bit of a problem with Critter, things just like slide out. So then also when I first made Claptrap, he had those spiked pieces, which are great and all, because if they find a gap then they will hold on, but if they don't find a gap then they're pretty useless. So when I made Cracker, I came up with a way of using tyres like this, and I saw that Nick Cohen used the same kind of idea for Pappy. My one, Flappy, I kind of changed it. It was Sam's idea of using pneumatic hose. So this is a pneumatic hose with a pneumatic joiner at the back, and it just goes right the way around, and that just gives it enough grip to stop a robot sliding out. How do I make this? Right, well here we go, here's the first instruction. You need these pieces. These are small wheels. I'll put all the list of parts in the video somewhere so you'll be able to find them, but it's not really the wheel I'm interested in, it's the tyre. So pull the tyre off it, then use these 2 thin lift arms, and then you kind of squash them in as the hard bit. There you go, so it's like that. Then you double up, you put 2 of them in, and you kind of balance it over the top. Then you go back to these. I think these are arguably some of the best pieces in Lego. I absolutely love them. Then over one of them, you got to do a bit of a squash job. Editor's note, just fascinating to watch how long it takes me to realise that I've got this round the wrong way. Just have a watch. Oh yeah, and look at that. Just turn it around and it actually fits. How about that? Wow, genius. There you go. So once you've done that, you've got an arm, and then you get the other one. You put it through there. Bit of a squash, bit of a squeeze, but that means it's probably not going to come out. And there you go. That is how I use these tyres to create that grip on the top. So I totally recommend this. I haven't found a better way of doing it yet. If you find a better way, please tell me, but this I think works really, really nicely. Okay, so now you've got your scoop, you've got your arm, and you've got your tooth. Those are the three main parts you need to make a lifter. Now I'm going to show you three mechanisms. I'm going to talk about a fourth way of transferring motor power into lifting power. So here we go. This first one I want to start with is a bit of a weird one. This was created by Harry, and I first saw it in one of his robots called Tempest. Really, really clever system. I don't think anyone uses it anymore because it's been replaced by geared systems that are better. But if you're someone at home who doesn't have many gears, this is a good one to start off with, and it teaches you the kind of fundamentals of a grabber. So it starts with one of these, a 7 lift arm, and all of these are odd numbers, so it's quite an easy one to remember. 7, 5 along, you put a 5 piece, and then here you've got 3 up, so it's another odd number, is that one. This is where your scoop's going to go, and then these are the ones you want. I can't remember the name it is, I'll find the piece later. This one goes here, and then here. Now this with a little the arm on it is going to be basically my motor, like symbolic of where the motor is. So now these honeycomb pieces are brilliant for showing off models. I love them. So if you look, as I turn this, the whole thing just lifts up. The whole scoop lifts up. There's nothing on it, no resistance. This arm and then the tooth up there will just move. But here's the clever bit. When something is there, so like an enemy robot, then this starts to turn because this arm in blue is locked out. Watch. There. Then once it gets to that point, then it lifts. Now, Harry apparently spent absolutely ages, this is Harry, the creator of Trevor, spent absolutely ages on this, and I can see why. It's incredibly clever, just using a few kind of essentially lift arm pieces to create that kind of mechanism in the middle. So clever. But he doesn't like it now because if you watch this arm, as it comes down, it then kind of pulls itself back in from this point. It kind of slides back inwards there, it kind of gets shorter and it kind of slips off the robot. But I think this mechanism is incredibly clever and he's an absolute genius for coming up with it because on its own it just lifts, but if you put weight there, then it pulls up. So if you want to start your kind of grappler grabber journey, have a play with a couple of these like lift arm pieces, and then you can just kind of create something without any gears, there's no slippage, and I just think this is a really clever and fun way of doing it. Okay, this second one is the one that I created for Cruncher and Cracker and all my sort of team Claptrap from now on. It uses a lot of gears. So here's the motor, and then there's the small wheel to the bigger wheel, to the smaller wheel. So that's just gearing down that motor, so it's giving it more torque. But the really important bit is this big wheel to this little wheel and this scoop and arm system here. So let's have a look how this works. And here it is. I love this. So let's break down its components slightly. So here is the motor, and there's the small gear, big gear that I talked about. Then here's just a way of spacing it up. So that small gear goes to this big gear again. So that's just gearing it down. Don't worry about that bit. The bit that's important is this. Right, you can see here from earlier, here's our scoop, here's our arm, and then that's where the tooth's going to be on, and that's where it grabs the robot. But how does it work? Well, all it's got is one tiny gear here. That's the whole thing. The whole thing is just on one gear. But what it does is it travels over the length of this, and that's what gives it the power. So this arm goes onto here. Oh, no, goes onto here, and that puts that tooth on there, like that. Now you can see, all that does is just move the arm up and down. But what the clever bit is if it moves the arm down and there's something sitting here, it lifts it up. Have a watch. So let's put it into place. So that goes there. Okay, so there again is the motor. When I rotate it, the whole thing comes up, just like the last one, just like Harry's one, and the whole thing comes down. But when I put something on it, so I've scooped under an enemy robot,
then suddenly this arm is locked. So the only thing that can move is this wheel here for the gear for the head, so for the arm. The arm comes down, tooth bites, and now that that is stuck, that can't rotate anymore, it has to lift the whole thing up. And this is the absolute core of how geared grapplers or lifters work. Then this is how Wojtek and co get people above their head, and then when I want to let them go, I undo it, and the whole thing comes open again. So let's watch again. So it comes round, nothing. Someone sits on it, the arm drops, and the whole gear comes round like this. Absolutely brilliant. So clever. Let's just look at it from the above side. Ooh, if I can hold it. Okay, there you go. Right, the arm is down. So now it comes down, and then can you see it's all lifting from that little gear there, and up it comes. And there it is. This is how most of my grapplers work. So this is how Cracker works. There it is. So there it is coming down, and there is lifting up the arm, the scoop. And there's Cruncher, exactly the same. I've just replaced the scoop with that classic brick separator front. So that's how these two work. And I'm really happy with them. It's really effective. But let's look at another one. Okay, the next one. This is my robot Flappy, but it's completely built on Nick Cohen's robot Pappy. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because it's not fair, because I've bought the instructions for Pappy. If you're an intermediate builder who really wants to improve your game, I cannot recommend buying those instructions enough. When I first bought them, I thought, oh, it's a bit expensive, it's a bit much, but I have learned so much from them. Nick on his page Outwork Robotics has already got a really detailed video showing how Pappy works and how his winch system works. But just to let you know, there are no gears in this system at all. It is pure winch based. It is these strings being pulled, but the same principle is the same. You've still got the arm, the tooth, the scoop. This is free to move, and as soon as it makes contact, this then lifts up. So it's the same principle, but replace all the gears with string, and it's absolute genius. The last system I want to talk about today is the one I use for Wojtek. This one was one I got from Team Technique with his lifter robot, and I asked him where to get the parts for it, and he showed me this wonderful part, and I'll show you the same part in a second. As you can see, it's using 2 extra large motors, and then it's still got the large gears, and it's still got the tiny gears, just like all the others. If we look on the side, you've still got that scoop, that arm, and then the top bit's got the teeth, and look at Wojtek's teeth, aren't they lovely? I've got 5 of those wheel systems that I talked about earlier. But it is using the same idea that the main arm clamps down and that lifts the whole thing up. But how does it work? Well, before I move on, I've got this one. I've now created a second one because I enjoyed making Wojtek so much. I thought I'd see if I can improve it still. Double extra large motors, and then the big gear, little gear. And still the same nice 5 teeth system. I've kind of changed the drive around so it's got a back wheels are open. But the really easy place to see it is I'm halfway at the moment between, well, not half, probably feels like less than half. It always feels like less than half until suddenly something clicks and suddenly you're all the way. I'm rebuilding Claptrap at the moment because he used a lot of like old gears to get himself going, and they're always clicking, but this new system's way better. And if you look, because it's kind of half built at the moment, you can see that system. You've got these gears. I don't know if you've noticed, I've got that second line of gears. Now, someone might in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but I've put these here just to kind of stop these from wobbling. So these don't actually do anything. There's just got an axle that goes all the way through there. It's basically to secure these in place so they don't kind of move, because this is where a lot of the force is kind of focused. So I thought it's just a way of helping it. Someone in the comments might say, no, Danny, that's absolutely rubbish. That doesn't do anything. But to me, it feels right. But that isn't the thing. The thing that powers this is these worm gearboxes here. Now I've got the parts ready to show you, but basically the motor goes in through these grey axles and it spins these worm gears. which then transfers into these, and that works like a very similar system that we've seen before, but I'll show you them now. Okay, what have we got here? We've got loads of pieces to show you. The most important are these. Now these are the same piece, but if you reverse it, they make a little kind of gearbox here. That is what powers the whole thing. Now I realised they've got 2 holes in them because they let you do 2 different things. So you can put, this is a worm gear, it's an inclined plane wrapped around a cylinder. But what's great about them is they don't slip. So they allow you to create a lifter which doesn't have that horrible clicking sound or the chance of bending your lovely axles. So that fits in there rather nicely. Now there's 2 you can go for. You've got that bottom hole here that lets these smaller gears fit in, like that. And can you see, if I rotate the worm gear, oh, it's off. Hang on. Yeah, sorry, that's why. Because that needs to be on there, doesn't it? That's why they come in 2s. Right, I'll put that there. Let's give you a visual demonstration. Let's put the arm on. That's what it's for, after all. It turns that motion into that motion. But that's not the one I use. And I think a lot of people don't use that one. The gear that lots of people use in these is the larger gear because it gives you much more torque, a bigger ratio, a slower movement and more power. So let's put that on there. And then let's put that there. And then let's put this one through here. And there it is. That rotates that big wheel. And that is the starting point for where that little gear is going to move up from. So let's have a look at that now. So what have we got here? We've got the motor. There's the motor. And the motor rotates that worm gear inside that box. There it is. And can you see as I do that, it's doing 2 things. One, it's moving this big wheel first. You see, there it is moving. But 2, that moves this little gear. Now can you see I've used a small thin lift arm because there's a thin lift arm space. Let's quickly rotate that. Get that way. There it is. There's a thin space either side of here. So this is 2 wide inside. So 1 wide is taken up, 1 stud width is taken up by the gear, and the other one is taken up by 2 halves. So I've used a half bush, and I've used a thin lift arm to connect to the main arm that connects to the scoop. So this is, in very many ways, extremely similar to this one. If you remember this one, this has got the arm that comes down. This is the one I use for my circuit cube robots, but it's exactly the same principle. This big gear goes onto the little gear that allows the arm to move, the tooth to clamp down on the scoop, and to go around. But all that this is different with is it starts with this box that means that the motor can't slip, and this will definitely move. So it definitely move. The only things that definitely happen if you try and lift something that's way too heavy, these axles will bend and break, or this will snap and click. But let's have a look at it. So when I do it one way, I reset, it opens the arm up, and then let's put a cheese weight there. So first it starts. Now if I did put nothing there, the whole thing just lifts like normal. But if I put a cheese weight there it is. First, that lifts. Do you see it? See the green bit lift? It lifted, if I just change the angle, it lifts on its own, but as soon as it faces resistance, this arm is then locked. This can't move, so the only thing that can move is the little gear here. And the tooth clamps down, and as soon as the tooth clamps, then it starts to lift. Isn't that great? So that whole thing lifts, and this is how Wojtek gets its lifts like above its head. And it goes all the way up there, and when you want to come down again, reverse the direction, and by the time it gets to this red pin here, that's kind of the ground, or the chassis of the robot, your own robot. is ready to reset. There it is. Such a clever system. And it was Team Technique that showed me the existence of this gearbox, and they're just absolutely wonderful. So again, up it comes, down it goes, and it resets just that one piece. And if I put my weight there, down it comes until the arm bites. There it is, and then up it comes again. Isn't that fantastic? Where do you put this? So here's my mechanism, and here it is on Wojtek. So you can see there's the big gear, little gear, there's the motors, where are they? There they are. They're like the gear hubs just hidden away inside there. But as you notice, I've kind of put so that the gear hubs are as central as possible. Now I know this is an interesting one because some people like robots that are suplexes. So a suplexer will lift up a robot and then drop it behind, whereas I don't want to do that. I've never really liked a suplexer. With Wojtek, I've got it to the point where it can do this. So look, that brace on the back of the head hits the back of this. Turn it around. Can you? Don't do that. Wait, behave. There. Which means Wojtek's head can't extend beyond that angle. So that means that when I'm grabbing a robot in a fight, I actually hold it directly up, and there's some great videos of me holding robots directly up with him. But I've put this as centrally as I can, so that when I'm holding a robot, I'm not going to be holding them there, am I? I'm going to be holding their main weight is kind of going to be about here, which is in the middle of the four wheels. So it means that if I kind of carry it too forward or too back, he'd be like on not all four wheels on the ground. In fact, falling on the sides is a big problem. I had thought about putting some like little guards up here, but it doesn't really work. But having it so it's as central as possible means I can carry it as good as possible. That means I can dump people in the pit. Okay, so that's it, guys. So I've shown you how to make your own teeth. I've shown you how to make your own scoops. I've shown you how Harry's Tempest system worked, how my geared system for my Circuit Cube robots work, how Nick Cohen absolutely dominates the Lego scene still with a winch-based grappler. Just check out the guy's channel. Please subscribe. Do watch that video. Buy his instructions if you're at loose end. You will not regret it. There's some amazing ideas in there. And then how Team Technique has shown me this amazing worm gear based gear hub that allows you to create lifters using 2 extra large motors. Just absolute genius stuff. So I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, and it's just coming up with the physical systems and getting all my ideas together took me some time. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do another video like this again, or if there's a different video you want me to do, like what's the next instruction. I think lots of people keep asking me about how to make weapon discs, like vertical, horizontal spinners. Now, I am not the guy who's an expert on making discs. There are far better people than me, but I can definitely give it a go if that's what you want to do. Or lifters, or pneumatic flippers, or elastic flippers. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Let me know if you enjoyed this, and please subscribe. My next event, I think I'm going to the Plymouth one. I've put a little post in my post section showing all the dates for the rest of 2016. I'm definitely going to the Great Western Brick Show in Swindon in October, and definitely the Bristol Brick Show in November. So please go to those events, turn up. If you want to fight with a robot, bring a robot, let me know and I can get you fighting. Anyway, hope this was useful. Cheers all.